Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier, and this is the Piracy Show. Now, the Piracy Show is something that I try to do when there are topics to discuss in and around, the criminal side of the Star Citizen universe. And, leading into Citizen Con, things have kind of dried up a little bit, and so there really hasn't been that much to discuss, or not enough that where there's enough depth of information that you really can opinionate and theory craft comfortably, I would say, to with any of the information. But recently, as of last week, there was a bit of drama in the Star Citizen universe, and so I figured, you know what, that this is something that I feel that should be talked about a little bit. And now, I'm not going to discuss, personal issues with anyone at the CIG team. I'm not going to discuss, you know, rumors and all that crap like that. But what I'm going to discuss is the game itself and why the game is so important. Now, Star Citizen really is a departure from so many of the titles that we see from other game developers. I mean, if you look at Blizzard, for instance, Blizzard's big feather in their cap, their big achievement is World of Warcraft. Everyone knows World of Warcraft, and many people have played World of Warcraft over the years. Now, recently, World of Warcraft has, we'll be generous and say, disappointed some people, and it's been not so great. But I mean, the reasons behind it being, at least in my personal opinion, is Blizzard has focused and really put their all their eggs into the esports basket. I mean, you see so many of their titles coming out. Their League of Legends clone, Heroes of the Storm. You've got Overwatch, which is, I believe, the leftovers in the framework of a possible StarCraft MMO that they just basically canned and said, "Oh well, let's just turn these assets into Overwatch." I mean, when I saw the Overwatch trailer and I saw the sniper character, I went, God, that reminds me of somebody. Who does that remind me of? And then I went, oh yeah. You know what? I bet you a lot of these assets were originally something else. They were, and my personal feeling was this: that was the StarCraft MMO, and then Blizzard, kind of shit canned it and repurposed it to make it into Overwatch, another arena style title, and that's where a lot of gaming is headed. Armored Warfare certainly is a game along those lines, though they're promising certain PvE and possibly even raid style content in that game. I'm excited to see where that goes. But so much of PC gaming really has turned into these titles that, just that aren't deep and that are kind of, shallow in terms of content. They just, they just deliver these kind of straight up, easy level, easy to max out, titles that are just all arena combat and esports focused that are just not that interesting. And the reason why I got into PC gaming, the reason why I love it so much, is because of the depth of experience. Like, I look at titles like Skyrim, I look at titles like Homeworld, I look at, games like World of Warcraft, especially back in its heyday. And I love those experiences. I love those immersive experiences that just, it that were just, I mean, you could spend hours and hours and hours playing and you still walk away from the computer and you're like, nah, I can go back. There's some more stuff I can do. There's some pieces I can still pick up. I used to, like, some people whine about the grinding and the leveling of World of Warcraft, but one of my personal favorite moments was, to go back and do all the quests in Howling Fjord. I loved that zone for some reason. It always kind of keyed in with me. The Grizzly Hills a little bit, but it was really Howling Fjord was just the zone that I absolutely looked forward to. And whenever I was grinding up an alt, as soon as I hit level 68, I was just like, yes, Howling Fjord time. And I would love it, and I would have so much fun playing through that zone. And that's the kind of experience that I like, that kind of deep, kind of immersive, experience where you're just like, oh man, I could play this for 18 hours straight and not even miss a beat. I love it. And that's, to me, why I play games on the PC, is because the PC allows you to have so much depth and so many possibilities in a game. And with so many titles these days, I mean, you burn out on them so quick. I mean, I bet you if you look at just about anybody's Steam folder, there's so many games in there, and they were like, oh man, I really enjoyed playing this. But then, after a couple of weeks, I got kind of bored, and so I started surfing through Steam, and I found a new game, and I played that heavily for 2 to 3 weeks, and then I got bored with it, and I played something else. And that's sort of probably the story of a lot of us. And, in regards to our Steam folders and whatnot, is we burned out on games after just a few weeks. But with Star Citizen, you're looking at a game that just, it's just, it looks like it's going to be such an immersive experience and such a huge universe. And I'm just so excited to see it. And so even though there's all this stuff going on, like, I'm still hopeful, I'm still faithful, and I'm like, I'm somebody who's obviously backed a lot of money into this game, and I did it not because I felt I had to, or not because, like, ooh, these pixels look really pretty, so I've got to buy them and stuff like that. I back into this game because, to me, this is gaming done right. This is someone who really understands that you can do so much more with the PC than a lot of companies are doing. A lot of companies are just trying to jump onto the esports bandwagon, and it's just not a very deep experience for me. I look at it and I go like, people like freak out over League of Legends, and I just look at it and I just go, whatever. I want a story. I want a deep experience. I want a game that I can really kind of lose myself in. And Star Citizen really appears to be that title, and that's why I'm so heavily into it. So when I hear all this stuff and all this drama in the background, I think, you know what? Maybe there's some truth to some of it. Maybe there isn't. I don't know. But what I do know is that Star Citizen is the game that I want. It's the game that I've been waiting for so long. Is there possibility of disappointment? Yeah. Are there going to be compromises that will have to be made along the way? I feel that there will be. I sense that there will be. I think that there are going to be delays. I think that there are going to be some shortfalls, and there's going to be disappointment along the way, as there is with just about anything in life. But I really feel that this is a game that's heading in the right direction, and there are going to be bumps along the road, but I'm not backing Star Citizen because of any one person on the team. I'm backing Star Citizen because it's the game that I need. It's the gaming experience that I need, and probably you guys as well. It's a game that really is kind of a bulwark against these really just these simple titles that you just keep getting regurgitated out into the market. These one-off titles that you play them for 2 weeks and then you're done and then you move on to the next. I really want a game that I can really just kind of grow with and watch and be just enthralled by. And so many of these titles, they just aren't that. And so when I see the gaming industry kind of heading in that direction, and I see this one title kind of heading off in the opposite direction and saying no, depth, story, immersive experience, graphical fidelity, all these things, we're going against this kind of cartoony arena combat, and we're heading in the other direction. That's a title that I put my money into. That's a development in the gaming industry that I put my money into. I don't back for any one person. I back for the game. I back for, someone who stands up and says, no, you can do so much more with a PC. Let me show you. That's why I'm here. That's why I back this game. And that's why, even though some people are making a big deal out of all this drama, I just take it as par for the course, and just, that's just the stuff that happens along the way. And as long as we get to Star Citizen, that's my main goal, and that's what I'm focused on. So I realized that this show wasn't all that piracy based, and hopefully once we get some more information and some more topics that we can theory craft on, we can continue on with the piracy show. But I always said that it was going to be kind of a sporadic thing, and I realized today we kind of went off the beaten path a little bit. But I just feel that these were things that I really kind of needed to say in my kind of meandering manner of speaking. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you agree, if you disagree, you can leave comments below, like, dislike. Anyways, at least I hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching.